Hello, everyone. Leani Lopez here with another episode of I Got Nothing, a podcast for exhausted writers. And today I have another exhausted writer with me. Please introduce yourself.
Hi there. I am Erica Sherlock. I recently published my debut novel. It's called Through Quick and Quinn, and I have set to come out in approximately 3 weeks a full corresponding curriculum to go with the young adult novel. I was a middle school teacher for about 23 years and recently retired about 2 years ago without really any idea as to what I was going to do. Ended up writing this incredible book about healing journeys and friendships and all of the difficult things that adolescents deal with these days. And the more I dove into it, the more I knew I wanted it to be read in classrooms and with homeschool families. And so, using my educational background, I created a very thorough curriculum to go along with it. And that is what I am just about to wrap up.
That's amazing. And by the time this comes out, it'll be out. So the link will be in the description.
I love that.
A little time travel.
Perfect.
And so you just, you're releasing this book or have released this book. And
Yes.
did you always know you wanted to be a writer, or is that something that came later on?
Ever since I was little, for as long as I can remember, I always wanted to be a writer. I remember sitting in my elementary school classroom and we had to create some sort of vision board or something. I remember it being in my third grade classroom. And I can visualize it, me writing best-selling author all the way back then.
Amazing.
So we'll see. The verdict is still out on that one. But I did always want to write. And I wrote a lot in high school in terms of I tried different things, poetry, short stories, things like this. I had a lot of novel ideas in high school that I still have the notes for. I look back and kind of chuckle at them. But in my 20s, I took a stab at it, and my early 30s, mostly with children's books. My son was young at the time, and those were the books. He was an infant, so those were the books I was reading.
Mhm.
And I tried. I sent them out to publishers, got a lot of rejections, and then ended up back in the classroom and just kind of, you get swung right back into your world, right?
Yeah.
And time doesn't always allow you to do things on the side.
Yeah, that's essentially what happened with me is ever since I was little. Actually, I I just had a conversation with my mom like 2 weeks ago, and she found a bunch of old stuff from like 1st and 2nd grade of mine,
Wow, that's
and
amazing.
she was like, "You wrote a story?" And I was
Oh.
like, "Oh my god, I did?" And she's like, "Yeah, the ghost in Miss So and So's class." And I was like, "Please don't read that. I have no idea what that is."
That's incredible.
I
I
don't
don't
remember that at all.
I don't have enough from my younger years in terms of that. That would be have you read it?
Not yet, because I haven't been back home yet, but I will soon, and I'm like, "Oh god."
That's gonna be so much fun to read. It might be enlightening.
Well, the funny thing is with, all these talks I'm having with other indie authors, it's similar origins for us. We
Mhm.
all seem to have this innate desire to write or to tell stories.
Yes.
And eventually that desire is just it has to come out. You just
Yes.
have to do it.
I totally agree. I feel like I'm a very spiritual person. I feel like that seed is 100% definitely planted
Yeah.
by God when he considers you, thinks of you, breathes life into you, that the seed comes with it. And you can try to ignore it or, push it aside, bear it, whatever you decide to do with it. It's coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got to answer the call. So yeah.
Yeah. I released my very first book around 2013. My son was only like a couple months old at that point,
Wow.
and that book is not available anymore because it was supposed to be a trilogy, and I just sort of moved on from it afterwards. But it was also during a time where the indie author community was not a thing, at least not
Yeah.
as prevalent as it is today.
Right.
and
Right.
it's so encouraging.
It is.
It is such a wonderful community, and everybody's so knowledgeable, and they love sharing that knowledge. No one hoards knowledge like, "Oh, you don't know?" It's all like, "Oh, let me help you. This is what you can do, and this
You
is
are
what you
so
don't
right.
have to do, but will help," you know?
Yes, it's so true, and it is incredible. It's such a slice of like a perfect community
Yeah,
in my mind. I had no idea. I was actually quite anti-social media for a long time. If I knew
understandable.
yeah, and if I well, and working with adolescents and seeing,
Yeah,
the effects of it, but if I had known that there was a Bookstagram community, that would be so just so embracing and encouraging and supportive and authentic. These, they're true friends and true supporters.
yeah,
And you're right, there is no hoarding of knowledge. It's only helping one another, boosting one another, understanding that just because something great is happening with someone else doesn't detract from what you're doing. Right. Just to help someone else doesn't mean that you're taking something away from yourself. And unfortunately, we see that in society,
yeah.
which I've always thought is kind of gross. But I have
I
not come
agree.
across that in the Bookstagram community. It is incredible. I
Yeah,
am so grateful for it.
yeah, it's a very rare thing, at least in the circles I'm a part of. And it's so encouraging and so helpful. When I left my full-time job in 2018, it's a very lonely thing to do.
Yes.
And then I was working from home, and my son is on the spectrum and was having difficulty, so it was a good thing I ended up quitting my job because I ended up having to homeschool him for a couple of years.
Wow.
And once he became old enough to go into the special school that he's in now, and he's doing amazing,
Great.
I had time to finally be a full-time writer.
What a blessing.
And it was a blessing, and it was also like, "What do I do first? Oh, no. Oh my
Super
god."
overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, yes, and so the audio drama I did was my first, even though I released two books when I started being an indie author, the audio drama was my first major project for myself, and it felt so good.
Yeah,
It felt amazing,
I
like,
bet.
writing the script, which was also lonely, to get the script done and out there and get people's feedback was just amazing. And
Yes.
so I wanted to ask you, how did it feel to finally finish your first book?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's funny because the feelings are coming back again now with this curriculum.
Mhm.
It's a blend of, excitement, all of these, great feelings. Oh, I can't wait to get it out into the world. But there's also this incredible vulnerability,
Yeah.
this exposure, right? I've poured my heart and soul into, XYZ, whatever this project is, and I'm about to release it into the world.
Yeah.
And what if, right? Then all the what ifs come. What if it falls flat?
Mhm.
What if no one cares? What if there's a lot of negative feedback? What if, what if? And so powering through that imposter syndrome
Oh, yeah.
and which is so real, and
It's
focusing on,
yeah.
the positives, focusing on the messages that, I feel God has called me to put out into the world. And because the book Through Quick and Quinn is an incredibly personal novel. So
Mhm.
it was inspired by the hundreds of students that I was blessed to have, each student having their own individualized Easter egg somewhere in the novel. I mean, it is a really personal novel.
Mhm.
And so those feelings of, I remember 2 weeks before release date, I wanted to abort the mission. I
Yep.
was like, no, 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 I never mind. I changed my mind. I'm so glad I wrote it and I'm going to read it plenty, but
Please don't
nobody else needs
perceive
to see
me.
it.
No one looks at me. I don't exist. No, 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 no.
Yes, yes. So it's just, it's just this whirlwind
Yeah.
of incredible feelings that are very high intensity in
Yeah.
terms of the feelings. And there's nothing like it. There's truly nothing like it. I've never experienced anything like that.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. That I think I had gotten to, because the first season of my project is 10 episodes, and
Wow.
I was writing episodes 9 and 10, and the imposter syndrome was so
Mm.
bad.
Mhm.
And I was like, "No, oh my gosh, I have, like, my friends who are waiting to act in this, and, like, it's not good enough, I need to do that." And so I sort of took a step back and was like, "Chill." Uh, and then I I was at my mom's house, I have a very distinct memory of this, and I had the Word document just reading it out loud to me so that I could catch things and see how it flowed, and
Right.
I realized at a certain point I had stopped taking notes and was just listening to the script,
What a great feeling.
and I was like, and that's without acting,
Yeah.
and it's just like something clicked.
Yeah.
Something clicked, and when I edited that very first scene, to give background if, people haven't listened to other episodes, this is a dream has been a dream of mine for 10 years, and when had the first scene edited with music and sound effects and everything, which I did all myself, that first scene made me cry because
Oh,
it
wow.
sounded how it sounded in my head.
That's so beautiful. I love, love, love that for you.
Yeah, it was amazing, and the response I haven't gotten much comments, couple ratings here or there, but the numbers have been wild. I think episode 1 at this point, we've been out for about 3 months, and it's hit over 300 downloads just for episode 1,
Wow.
and yeah, it like you were saying, it there is no feeling like it once you finally put this creative baby out into the world,
Yes.
essentially.
Yes. Yes.
It's it's a feeling that I feel like if it wasn't there, none of us would create, like, because
You're probably right.
it's such a difficult and can be such a soul-sucking process.
And I think it's that high that we continue to chase. When
Yeah,
I first started, I was like, "Oh no, I'm only going to write if I have something to say," which is true. I wouldn't be surprised if this is my one and only. And then no, that's just not at all the case,
yep,
And the curriculum it's a different type of beast, but it was still very much similar feelings. And
yeah,
then, I'm already book 2 has been pounding on my brain since. I just haven't for a couple months now, but I haven't answered that call. I haven't allowed myself to even consider writing any ideas down for book 2 until I finish the curriculum and have that out. So,
yeah,
but it's like what people say about tattoos, right? Like you get one and then you get another one and then you get another one. I don't know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that's how I feel that's how I feel the book writing is as well.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. As someone with tattoos, yes, that is exactly what happened. I got one last year, and she was outlining it, and I was like, "Okay, what am I gonna do for my next
Right?
one?"
That's funny. That's how I feel about food. I'll be
Yeah.
eating lunch, but I'll be thinking about what I'm gonna
"Oh,
have
what's
the
gonna be
next
dinner?"
meal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I have a notes app where I just jot down ideas for stories, but I have one
Mhm.
note because I have the whole series for the audio drama outlined, and so I'll just jot notes for, like, individual seasons as they just pop into my head, and I think this week my brain was like, "We should start brainstorming," and I was like, you have a book that is 4 chapters away from being drafted. Could you just chill?"
Right, right.
One
No.
Finish that first, please, ma'am.
I get it.
Yeah. So when you started writing, and I mean even now when you're getting ready to write, I know I personally have a couple writing rituals I do. A lot of people start these rituals to kind of get themselves in the right mindset. Do you have any of your own writing rituals?
Well, I don't know because I've only written the one novel, but I
Mhm.
I do know that I'm very, and this shouldn't surprise anyone because I was a teacher for so long. Everything is color coded, index cards. There's
Yep.
definitely a method to the madness. But when it would be time to write, I would take whatever scene I was working on and I would gather those index cards. And, they would, of course, be in order, and each index card having just one blurb,
Mhm.
not sentences, not just a jotted down idea of sorts. and I would have them in the order that the scene would play out, and I would just read through those cards several times. And then I would just, lay down and close my eyes and watch the scene. And when I would watch that scene, I would try to pull in as many details as I could. Uh, I don't know how else to explain that.
You
And then
don't
I
have to, I get it.
okay.
I absolutely 100% understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it helped. It just when it came time to write it, it flowed, so much more easily for me, because I could close my eyes, visualize it, look around. I'm big on kind of hovering over a moment
Yeah.
where the character, let's talk about what we're seeing, smelling,
Mhm.
tasting, what can we, what's going on in the environment, what are we hearing? And so visualizing it in that way really helps for me.
Yeah, visualizing is a huge part of it. I recently learned that my husband does not have the visualization mind that I do. I was talking a friend and I were talking with him and he was like, "Yeah, when people talk about seeing pictures in their head, like, I don't know what they're talking about." And I've been married to this man for 11 years. And I was like, "Excuse me, sir? What do you
So
mean you
does
don't
he
play
think in
movies in your head?" Like,
yeah. So what are the thoughts like? Is it just
it's more the words.
words? Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I was just like floored. I was like, "This is what my brain can't stop because I'm constantly playing movies in my head," and m even my aunt was like, "I don't understand that," and I'm like, how are you not haunted by the visions?"
Yeah,
It
that's
really
funny.
feels like that sometimes.
Yes. Yes, it does, yes.
Yeah, when people are like, "Well, don't you control your characters?" I was like, "No, sweetie.
Not at
I
all.
really don't."
Yes, it's so true. I would have notes written out, and then I would get further along in the writing process, and I would be looking at cards from ideas that I had had months prior, and then when I would get to that part in the story and try to visualize that scene, it was just not sitting right. Oh no, this character would never do this, would never say this, which I wasn't expecting as a debut writer that these characters would take on their own selves, their own lives. That
Yeah.
I created Quick and I created Quinn, so of course I can determine what they're going to do later on down the line. Oh no,
Oh,
oh no.
sweetie.
So that was fun to find out.
Yeah, that is something that I think a lot of people who don't write don't understand. And the way I look at it, because I know you said you're a very spiritual person, I am as well. And a lot of the times when I get into the writing flow, it doesn't necessarily feel like writing, it feels like channeling.
Yes.
Like
Oh my gosh,
I'm
yes.
just translating what's coming to me. So, it's
Yes.
just like when a character takes control, I've learned to kinda look at it not as, like, they're not doing what I want them to, it's more
Right.
like, "Okay, you want me to tell it a different way. Alright, tell me which way this is supposed to go."
Absolutely. That's a beautiful way to look at it. That's how I look at writer's block, right? When
Yeah.
people have asked, how do you deal with writer's block? How do you push through it? I don't. I honor it. I
Yeah.
respect it because if you don't, you're not going to get, a great product.
You're gonna be stuck there, yeah.
That's right. You just have to honor it and allow it and focus on something else, go do something else, go, whatever. I don't know. I like to sit outside in nature and, do my own version of just kind of stillness and meditation, but you have to honor it. There's
Yeah,
no other way around it. And then once you free yourself of whatever you're trying to impose, then it frees up.
that
So,
I've literally had that happen to me recently. I was struggling with a chapter and I stopped and had to do other things, so I ended up having to reread my manuscript when I came back to it because it was, like, months later,
mm.
and I was kinda dreading that chapter, and then I had this moment of being like, "You're dreading the chapter because it's unnecessary. It's inter
Ah.
it's interrupting the flow of the story, and that's why it bugs you."
That's fascinating.
And I was like, "Cool," and I struck that off,
You're
and
like, "Oh, look what I finished today."
yeah, and I was like, "Awesome, great," and then I was
Uh,
fleshing out I was still going through the process of fleshing out, certain chapters that only had like one draft. And I kind of was having the same feeling with this other chapter. And then again, like a week later, I'm like, you don't need this chapter.
Mm.
And so I struck that one out too.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
felt so good. And even though I'm still kind of stumbling and fleshing things out, I don't have that massive resistance anymore because
right.
I finally got it in my head that I can very easily just feel what the story's trying to tell me and stop trying to force it to go a different
Absolutely.
route.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I
Yeah.
love that story.
And so we kind of talked about this a little bit. Speaking of root and things taking root, when you had this story idea, when you finally decided to work on it, how did you go about starting to develop it?
Well, I just jotted down a lot of notes. I was just writing and writing and writing my ideas down on paper. And then I couldn't sleep. I was thinking about it constantly. I was playing things out. I was writing in the middle of the night. And then as I felt like, okay, I really know, how this story is going to play out. Then I took all of those notes and worked them into those index cards. And then I took those index cards and worked them into like chunks of time. It's
Mhm,
a young adult fiction novel. So the time is basically semesters, right? So there was, this chunk of time of their freshman and sophomore year, which was really quick. And then it was junior year semester one, junior year semester two. So then I started to take those index cards and chunk them by time and then expand on each one
mhm.
from there before I even started the writing process.
Yeah, I organization is a huge,
Yes.
huge thing. I'm an author coach as well,
Oh,
and
nice.
90% of the time when I get a client, my job is to help them get organized.
Yeah, I could see
And
that.
yeah, and which is one of my favorite things to do.
Yes.
Not organize my own stuff, help other people organize their stuff. Let me be very clear. Very
Let me clarify.
ADHD of me is I I will help you organize. Do not look in my closet.
Right,
Do what
right,
I
we're just
say,
gonna
not what I
ignore this.
do.
Right, exactly.
But it really does help, and I've also noticed sometimes if I'm stuck or feeling frazzled, it's often because I'm jumping from thing to thing and being very disorganized.
Mm, yeah,
And the way I kinda ground myself is to reorganize, and then I'm like, "Okay."
I'm the
Yeah,
same way.
yeah,
If
yeah,
I have a frazzled mind, I can't function if I
yeah,
have a frazzled head, and so pretty much every Sunday, that's how I do, my life is,
yeah.
"Okay, let me gather everything that's going on and reorganize it, color code, categorize, make my list, whatever,"
Yeah,
pretty much every Sunday. And then as I was writing, I had to I very rarely went out of order. Only
mhm,
if a scene was calling to me or only if in the middle of the night
yeah,
I had the full scene play out, I would write it or draft it and then, kinda tuck it away until the time came, but
yeah.
even just the bouncing around of time would have been, I think, too difficult for me,
Mhm.
in terms of organization and keeping my thoughts going.
I totally understand that, and I think that's why my first book just took so long, is because I did it the other way. I did it with, like, writing scenes here or there because I was also in college prior to actually working on it, and then high school before that, so I was a kid, I didn't know what I was doing,
Right.
and so I ended up piecing it together like a puzzle, and because I'm a ghostwriter now and I have to write outlines and kinda have to write it in order, it it helps a lot, but I also allow myself to skip a part that's not coming to me to get to the
Yes.
part that is.
Yes. It's
I
definitely a
always yeah.
blend.
Yeah, I always tell people brackets are your best friend. If this just happened to me yesterday, there's a scene I knew needed to flesh out a little bit more,
Mhm.
and I was really just trying to get the gist of the chapter because it was like a first draft and I could not remember. And so I just put brackets and was like, describe the room here, and then moved on to the dialogue
Right.
and then made a note for myself to go back and fill it in later when I had the brain power.
Absolutely. You have to follow the inspiration when it hits, you've got to chase it.
Yeah, and I've also noticed another thing I've talked to clients about is if you have a scene that you're really excited to write, write it, because the second you put it down, it'll make space for something else. I've had a lot of scenes where I'm like, "This is what I really wanna write," and then I'm not quite sure how to transition the 2 together, and
Right.
then once I get them out of the way, then, like, I'll be doing something else and my brain's like, "This is how they connect."
It clicks.
Yeah, and then you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, crap, where's my pen?" Like
Where's my notes app?
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
So, this podcast is a writing podcast, so I always like to ask my guests, what is the best piece of writing advice you have received?
Honestly, it's quite the simple one, which was, there's no perfect time, and they say that, right? Like, there's no perfect time to have a
Yeah.
child, there's no perfect time to get the dog or whatever. If you're always looking for this 6-hour chunk of time uninterrupted, and you're also inspired, and you're also this, and all of the stars have aligned, it's not,
It you gotta make it happen
Yes,
at
and
a certain point.
even if it's stealing 15 minutes here or 20 minutes there, just getting words out,
Yeah.
and it's so funny, but as simple and obvious as that is, it really was stopping me up in the beginning. It really was.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I started, I had written some short chunks that it really freed those gates, open for me, and then I did find those amazing chunks of time.
Yeah.
You still have to do that, but to constantly be waiting for the perfect time or to be putting that off is just no, that was not a good way to go. So I was grateful for that advice.
Yeah, that's great,
Yeah.
and if there's anybody listening who's like, "Oh, I don't know," write it.
Yes,
If you're waiting
absolutely.
for the sign, this is it.
This is the one. Yes. Yes, yes.
I also do tarot readings, and that is one of my things that comes up a lot. Like, "You're waiting for a sign," and I'll look them in the eye, I'm like, "Hello, I
Right.
am the sign.
I'm right here.
Do the thing."
Yeah. Yes.
And lastly, what advice would you like to share with other budding indie authors who are just starting out?
Well, when I looked back at when I was writing before and I was getting those rejections from publishers. I mean, this was back in the day when you actually had to mail it out in envelopes and such. And I think my best piece of advice would be is not to think so much about, well, what would the readers, excuse me, what would the readers want? Do they want
Yeah,
this? Do they want that? Should I say that? Is that going to upset? And so I think that's what I was doing originally
I was
was
too. Yeah, I
I
totally get
was
it.
yes, I was so focused on what are they gonna want? No. And so when I decided to write this book, and I'm very passionate about the messages within this book, very, very passionate. There are some, like I said, I had something to say.
Mhm.
And so when I sat down with this and I thought, okay, I'm gonna do this. I don't know where it's gonna go. I don't know how this is gonna end up happening, right? But I am going to write this book, but I'm gonna write it my way for me. And when I did, not only was that a very cathartic healing process because it was, coming after it was a massive transition in my life to be a teacher
Yeah,
for 23 years. Never would have guessed, never that I
yeah.
would ever leave. And so,
Sometimes it just happens.
it does, and I definitely 100% believe that God was, pulling me away and in a new direction for several reasons. But I committed to myself. I said, "You know what? I'm gonna write this book the way I wanna write it. I'm gonna say what I need to say. I'm not going to struggle with myself over, well, what if so and so feels this way? Or what if that offends people in that way? Or what if they really want this to happen?" I'm gonna write this book
Mhm.
the way I need it to be written. And then once it's out, the draft, I can rework those things and reconsider some things. But I think when authors are so bogged down by what they think the readers want, I think that if we're driven by ego instead of by spirit, I think it shows. And so that would be my piece of advice.
Because when you do it that way, you're not developing your own voice.
Yes.
You're developing the voice you think people want to hear from you.
Yes.
And one of the things I say, and this actually came up a couple years ago, I was on a panel for Puerto Rican authors from Connecticut, which was huge for me. It was a wonderful group of people. And the first question was this little girl in the front who asked me how I help people write books. And I
Mm.
almost cried because she was so cute.
Oh.
But one of the things I brought up was I think a lot of authors don't write something because they are like, this story's been told already. No one wants to hear it again. And if that were the case, we would not have any more books or movies. Every story has been told a certain way.
Fair.
And just because it was told before, it wasn't told by you.
Right.
You bring your own unique voice to it. And
Absolutely.
so when you're curating that right from the get-go, you're creating this unnecessary barrier between you and the story. And I think one of the things you said, like being true to yourself and writing it how you want the story to go, because you can
Absolutely.
always edit it after.
Right.
You can't edit a blank page.
Absolutely.
I've tried. It doesn't
Right. Right.
work. But as long as you stay true to yourself and the story you want to tell, and you're not hurting anyone,
Right. Yes.
you're going to have a much more solid foundation and you're going to have a better relationship with your art.
100%. And the art will have a better relationship with the readers.
Yeah.
It'll
Yes.
find the right hands, and those readers will know. I truly believe that authenticity in
Mhm.
the writing shines through. I think you can tell when there's something that is forced or when there's something that is written with the goal in mind, you know, like I said, an ego-based goal
Yeah.
rather than a spirit-based goal.
Yeah.
And so that I truly believe would be of course, honor the writer's block, the other things that we said too.
Yeah.
But this one I think is the most important one I would
Honor
want to
yourself
share.
first.
Yes. Yes.
And if you're looking for a sign to think of yourself for the first time, this one's it too. There's another sign right here for you. Put yourself first. It's
Yes, there we go.
okay to take care of yourself.
Yes,
And
it
it's
is.
more than okay to do something for you and to write something the way you want to write it. Because again, you can always edit it after. And you also never know. I mean, you know what you want the story to be, but you never know where the process is going to take you.
That's very true. Very true. I would
Oh,
have never guessed how any of this would play out.
yeah.
So, yes.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we have time for today. Thank you, Erica, for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was like chatting with a great friend over a cup of coffee. I loved it.
Oh, where can people find you? I'll put links in the description.
Okay, well, my main platform is Instagram. I have a website, ericasherlock.com. And my links are also through that website. But the main place that I focus my energy and attention in terms of the book is on Instagram.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Erica. And thank you, everybody else, for listening, and happy writing.